Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Thursday, and all of today's guests are brought to you by the Vancouver Giants, and that includes Thomas Drance from The Athletic standing by. Barclay Parnetta from the Giants is going to join us in the next segment. Sunday is the Giants' annual fan appreciation game as they take on Kelowna. G-Men are giving away a trip for two to Vegas and all sorts of other prizes during the game. Arrive early for the announcement of the team awards. Puck drop 4 p.m. Doors open at 2:30. Stay up to date on playoff ticket information by visiting VancouverGiants.com or following them on social media. Looks like the Giants, Rick, are going to be up against Spokane.
It looks like
in
that.
round one of the Western
Tough
Hockey
matchup.
League playoffs. Blues Canucks tonight in St. Louis. Thomas Drance from The Athletic joins us now as the Canucks begin that what should be a tough 6-game road trip. Thomas, thanks for doing this, sir. A day earlier than normal. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for accommodating me, and I'm doing well. It's one of the best sports days of the year. We've got March Madness all day, college basketball, and the Canucks have some of their own March Madness, a critical game against a Blues team that plays Nashville twice, Chicago, Montreal in their next 5. After this one, this is not a game that the Canucks can have a 4-point swing go against them in, right? Because, man, do the Blues have an easier path to be 4 or 5 points ahead of Vancouver, right? In the event that they win tonight and take care of business as we'd expect them to over the next 5, while Vancouver goes off to New York and Columbus and Winnipeg, finishing a difficult road trip. This is a critical pivot point in the season.
Yeah, desperate buildings, as Rick Tocchet referred to them as. And by the way, Canada versus Mexico soccer today to add to the list of
CONCACAF semis. Let's go.
There you go. Was that the Canucks' best performance of the season against Winnipeg?
I mean, the thing is, to be honest with you, Donnie, is I think the Canucks have actually had a lot of really good performances this season. You think about the 3-0 win over the Panthers, a couple of their wins over the Colorado Avalanche. Yes. I mean, we've seen this Canucks team play at a high level on occasion over the course of this year. It's just that we haven't seen them string it together or go on one of those runs where they look like that for 5 games in a row, 3 games in a row. Hey, I'd take back-to-back games, right? So it's like, I thought the Canucks played really well against the Jets, not taking anything away from them. But I also think if you really think critically about it, Vancouver won the special teams battle, right? And they played decisively offensively. But the Jets had their chances. I mean, you had Kyle Connor with an empty net in the first period. You had Cole Perfetti all alone in front in the first period. You had Kyle Connor again with that sweep move that he narrowly missed tucking in the third period. Like, it wasn't a game in which they demolished the Winnipeg Jets. It was a game in which they took their chances and the Jets didn't. And that's a critical distinction for me. So, I think more than anything, we know that this team has a high level in them. What we haven't seen is them play a sustained stretch where they maintain that level for 10, 12, 15 games. And with, 14 games left in the season, like now would be an awesome time, right? Now would be a time to do it that could redefine some of the inconsistencies, some of the disappointments, some of the zero oxygen offensive performances that we saw like as recently as Sunday against the Utah Hockey Club. You can kind of turn the page on all of that. If you can play well, make the playoffs, flip the narrative that's, hovered around this team. And it's been one of sort of dull hockey dysfunction, players taking a step back. That can all change. That can all change if the club's able to, look like they did on, what was it, Tuesday against the Winnipeg Jets down the stretch here, and especially on this 6-game road trip.
And Thomas, you can't go anywhere without your best players being the best players, and that top line played really well against Winnipeg. Höglander,
they did.
Pettersson, and Besser. If they can keep doing that every game, hey, their chances increase in making the playoffs. What clicked for those 3 against Winnipeg?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things. One thing I really like when Besser plays closer to the net on the power play. I know we think of him on that left flank in his rookie season playing with the Twins, but I like him at the net front. I like him in that like old Toffoli spot. I think he's a good playmaker down there. I think he wins battles, and I think his skill with deflections is awesome. So I think you get the Besser goal from him moving to a place that I think he's better suited to, 5-on-4. I think that helped. And then I think Höglander has been a key driver for that line in terms of what he's been able to do through the neutral zone in terms of what he's been able to do on puck retrievals. And yeah, I just thought they played decisive hockey, right? They, I mean, when was the last time we saw a connected team level passing move like the 3-1 buzzer beater goal that Höglander put by Hellebuck? I mean, the regroup, the interplay with Forbert, the quick line change, and then the give and go between Pettersson and Besser and the cross seam pass. I mean, let's go. Like that was a beautiful bit of hockey from that line. We haven't seen enough of that from this entire team all throughout the season, and it looked real good on them. I mean, I think hopefully you're onto something here for Rick Tocchet and company, especially if Höglander can continue to play his game while complementing skill players, and if Besser and Pettersson can begin to find some of their old chemistry, because that line hasn't had a ton of success, or those two haven't had a ton of success when paired up on a line across really the last 3 years, despite some of the early promise that they showed as younger men.
We were just raving about Lekaramaki on Power Play 1 the other night. He's a healthy scratch tonight because Garland's back. Are you okay with him being up here, being healthy scratch 10 minutes a game as opposed to being in Abbotsford and lighting it up?
I am. I mean, he can go down for the playoffs, right? Like he can go down for the playoffs. I think this is a team that needs goals, right? This is a team that's going to need Lekaramaki, not to play a top line role necessarily next season, but to be sort of like the Vancouver answer to Matt Coronato in Calgary, like a middle six. You can play him 12 to 14 minutes a night. He helps you on the power play and he provides some secondary offense. Like I think they need that next year. I think that's an essential, like everything has to be done with an eye toward, in my opinion anyway, getting Lekaramaki up and running and acclimatized to the NHL lifestyle. NHL buildings, road trips, right? Like there's value in all of that from a comfort level perspective. Plus, as we saw, like, man, I think he should be on Power Play 1. So I'm totally okay with Lekaramaki riding out this entire season in the NHL. He'll still get a chance to go play American League hockey and dominate at the hardest part of the year in the playoffs. And I think he's already shown, frankly, that he can produce down there, right? Like at the age of 21, I guess, right? He's already an elite American League goal scorer. Great. We know that. You know what I mean? Like box checked. We'll see if he can do it at the hardest time of year. That's a good test for him. But right now it's like, get familiar with what it's like to play in the NHL, what that pressure feels like, especially at this time of year, what that practice schedule feels like, what the travel schedule feels like, the rhythms and rigors of sort of NHL life. I think that makes perfect sense, especially if this club's, looking toward next year and sort of making sure that he can have success then, because I think he's going to be a critical part of this team's plans in the top 9 beyond this season.
Also, Thomas, 7 points over a 5-game point streak for Elias Pettersson, number 40. What are you seeing?
Oh, now he's number 40. What about the other number, Donnie? Now that he's playing well, you don't bring up the other number, huh?
Whoa, what other number? 11.6.
Oh, that number. Okay, yes.
Oh, hey,
I get so much heat for it. I haven't said it for so long. I forgot.
Oh, I know. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, look, he's played well. He looks like he's looking for his shot more. That's what stands out to me. I think you're seeing him begin to, and I wonder if saying it publicly helped. Like, I wonder if that just took some weight off, but I don't trust my shot. Don't make that a headline, but that's sort of where I've felt. And ever since then, we've seen him sort of look for it and take it more willingly. We're seeing him find some success on the power play. I think Höglander's been a good add on that line. I think right now where Pettersson's speed has been all year, I don't think he's at the level where he's really driving through the neutral zone the way he typically has in his career. I don't think that's gone from his game, but I don't know that we'll see it again this year, given how long it's been absent. Might require just, some core strength, some recovery, some additional work in the offseason before we get that level of juice back from Pettersson. So I think having a winger like Höglander, who's been able to do some interesting stuff in transition as a puck carrier, I think that's helped a lot. And so, yeah, I mean, it's good to see. You feel like he's playing looser. You feel like he's playing a little bit more confident. I still don't know that we're seeing like the dominant form of this player, the apex pick your teeth with the opposition type player that, we saw in 2022-23, for example, or in 2019-20, or in that Calder trophy winning season. But I definitely think we're seeing signs of a more assertive offensive player. And there have even been moments like in that third period against Calgary where he's had that qualitative feel like he's the most dangerous forward on the ice. Canucks are going to need that. I mean, flat out, the Canucks are going to need it. As Rick said, right, on Tuesday night against the Winnipeg Jets, the Canucks' best players were their best players. Were outplayed Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele and Nikolai Ehlers. And so they won, right? Which was in contrast to what we saw against Utah, where like Cooley was the best guy and won the game, or against Montreal, where the Suzuki line ran roughshod over the Canucks, right? Yeah, or the Dallas game where Jason Robertson called game in the third period, right? You need your best players to win their matchups, to be sort of the driving force. And the Canucks had like a long stretch, like a 15-game stretch where their top six was outscored 2-14 at 5-on-5 post Four Nations faceoff. Impossible to live like that. They're showing some signs of turning it around, and the Canucks need that to continue desperately.
Here's another number for you, Hockey 101. Yeah. Thomas, thanks for this.
Boy.
Hockey 11.6.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Next week.